Hey everybody, Big E. Welcome to Big E's YouTube channel. So what we got here today is we're going to do repair panel placement, repair, rust repair, whatever you want to call it. We have the 03 Ram 1500 shop truck, I like to call it. We got some rust coming through here. It's big bubbles here, so this is going to come through any week now. This is the original sheet metal when the truck was built in 03, so the truck actually survived pretty good. But the time has come, before this cancer gets out of place and starts eating it into a bigger area, I went ahead, excuse me, you can get a repair panel from a lot of warehouses, auto parts warehouses. They have repair panels that you can buy that are pre-shaped, pre-rolled. You just place them and put them in. So we have that here. So I'm going to bring you guys over here. So as you can see, I traced it out here on this. Now there's a double line. So this line here, if you can see, that's the edge of the panel. Now you're wondering, okay, what's that line for? That line, I came in 3/8 of an inch. And the reason it's 3/8 of an inch is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it at the 3/8 in line. Okay, here's the edge of your panel up here, and then here's your 3/8 line in. So the reason being is so you have that piece of metal that comes in past where the panel is going to end. What you want to do is we're going to crimp it, and I'm going to show you. I have a hand crimper. I know they make an air one, but I have a hand crimper. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut out on the inside line. That's where you're going to cut out what I'm going to call the truck panel. They're going to cut it out there, and then you're going to go back with your crimper, and we're going to crimp it. So that way, when you put the new panel in, it should fit in there flush. So use the minimal amount of body filler and have the minimal amount of body work to do to finish the job. But I'll demonstrate. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut this out, and when I come back, we're going to look at the rust, see what we need to treat, and see what we're up against. Alright, so we'll see you in a couple minutes. Alright guys, Big E, we're back. So as you can see, we have our panel cut out here. We do have some serious rust issues. And then we cleaned this up a little bit better, but we should be pretty good as far as the cut. We're going to treat this rust. Oh, also, wear gloves. I didn't. And from the metal bouncing back and forth with the sharp edges, I got my hands all cut up. So do yourself a favor and wear gloves. So our next thing is going to be, we're going to grind this down, grind these edges off, tap some stuff into place here, because this was... looks like this was spot welded underneath. So we're going to grind that off smooth. We're going to grind this off, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to crimp that. So that's going to take a little bit. So when that's done, I'm going to come back and show you what we did, and hopefully then we'll be ready to maybe weld this panel on. Alright guys, Big E. So I went ahead, we got this, I'll show you, we got this cut out. We ground this off. Right now, I don't know if you can see here. Try and see if I can pick this up. You can. I don't know if you can see the difference from crimping it as opposed to here, but it's smooth here. It's hard to see with the dirt. See how it's just flat? You go here. I don't know. Let me try rubbing some dirt off here. You see? Well, you can see the paint's cracked here. So the crimper is actually making it's crimping it. It's, in other words, it's taking your flat metal from this to coming like that, drop down. I'm exaggerating, of course. So that way when you lay that panel in there, that thickness, it should lay in there almost perfectly flush with this. So that way when we tack weld the panel on, we're going to grind the paint off first. Tack it down with the welder, and we should need minimal body work to get that thing to blend in. So I was taking a breather here because, like I said, I don't have an air one. I'm doing this. It's like basically a glamorized vice grip with a special end on it. But you can see here, there's our line where the panel, and we're past that, which is good. You want that because you want that thing to make sure it sets in there nice and flush and have enough material for it to lay in there. So it looks like this should work out. I got this little bit to do here, and then when I come back, we're going to go ahead, we're going to spray this up for some rust treatment, and we're going to do a trial fit of the new panel and see how it fits. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, Big E, I'm back. So here we are. I'm going to bring you over here so you can see what we're doing. I'm just test fitting this panel right now. And I'm just looking here, and it looks like this is going to fit in here pretty nice. This should be okay here. This is good here. We're checking our fitment. Checking our fitment here. I'm having it held up in place with a vice grip. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what's holding it up here on the inner panel. So the fitment looks good here, so we all know that's going to be good. So, since we know that the truck's going to get repainted anyway, I would real lightly make a mark here and make a mark here. Okay, we're going to use this as index mark so we know where we had it positioned on the initial. I'd use a screwdriver, that's a little overkill. So that way when we're going to take this panel back off now, because we got to treat the rust that's on there. We're going to sand this down, and then we're going to go ahead so we can start tacking this up in place and getting it ready for primer. So I'm going to do that next, and when I come back, hopefully, well, we're going to have the panel off. I'm going to show you with everything ground down and with the rust treated. So we'll check in here shortly. Alright guys, Big E, I'm back. So we're going to go ahead. We have the panel back off. We have it sanded down here, ground down. We have this. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just using some off-the-shelf Permatex rust treatment. Something simple, nothing extravagant. And we're just going to go ahead, spray in there. Get it too heavy. I don't think it's even possible to get this too heavy. But just spray over everything where you see rust, where there's bare metal. Do all that in there. Okay, so even if you get runs on this, it doesn't matter because it's treating the rust. And so what? Probably the more the better here. I mean, obviously you don't want it dripping off, but you also don't want missed spots either. So we're going to go ahead, let that set up for now. Now, something that I've noticed with doing this, with the rust repair and stuff like that, people want to right away think, oh, we're going to load undercoating in here. Whatever you do, stay away from undercoating. I know it sounds weird, it sounds opposite, but I found out that undercoating actually attracts moisture, absorbs moisture. So basically, you're going to go through all of this, and then you're going to, if you put undercoating on here, you basically just pissed away 3 hours of your life, is what you did. Because now you're putting a material on there that's actually going to, again, make it rot out. So what I'm going to do is when this sets up, which it looks like it is, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to rattle can it, whatever, a flat black, whatever cheap spray paint you have laying around. Put 2 coats on there, okay? It's all you need to do because you need the paint to seal it. And you're not going to see it. Once you put the panel up there, you don't need some high dollar whatever paint. I do like using the hard hat stuff from Rust-Oleum, or they also have that 2X where it's paint and primer in a rattle can. You can do that. Put about 2, I would say a good 2 coats on there, just kind of encapsulate the metal so that way there's no exposed metal, and it's going to inhibit rust and moisture from getting in there and causing the rust that you're trying to get rid of in the first place. We'll worry about paint quality, we'll worry about finish on the panel. Here we don't need to. If you want to have your 5-year-old go nuts on it, by all means, go ahead. They can spray away in there, just as long as you get full coverage on there, so that way there's no exposed metal. So we're letting this set up for a little bit. It looks like it's drying, and you can tell it's actually, you can see it's black. It actually turns a little bit purple when it's dry, and we have the sun, which is really baking on, which is a good thing. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to rattle can this, and then we're going to go ahead and start tack welding that panel on when I come back. Alright guys, I'm back. So as you can see, we laid in that rust converter. Now we laid on some nice gloss black 2X primer on there. I laid it on pretty heavy, so I'm letting it dry up here. And we're going to go ahead now, and we're going to go ahead and get our panel. We're going to put it on the truck. We're going to clamp it down, and we're going to start tack welding. So we're going to go ahead, grab yourself some vice grips. And I also have a welding vice grip up there. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to, remember we have our lineup mark. Line that up. And grab your vice grip. Okay. Now that's better, because now that holds it in place. Check your fit. Check your line up. So, now that we have that, we have our welder hooked up already. With our ground clamp, we're checking out our fitment here. Doesn't look bad. What we might do though, here it looks a little off. So what I'm going to do here is I have another vice grip. So now I'm going to bring that in, and now that helps pull that in. So double check all your fitments, that everything is the way it should be, okay? That's what you want to do. Double check. Let me probably miss that completely. Right here I was having an issue. So now we bend it and we put a vice grip down here as well. We have a vice grip here, vice grip here. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take our ground clamp from the welder. We're going to use that as A, as a ground, but B, to help hold that in place. So I'm going to go ahead and check all this fitment again. There's places where it's going to be away, like up in here, just to keep that in mind. So now what you want to do is, now that we know that that's a pretty good fit where we're at, we're going to go ahead and I'm just thinking here, we're going to go ahead and tack this in. So I'm going to start here where there's an issue. First I'm going to get that end off. Let me move my welder closer. I can't hold it in place because the welder is too far away. Let's try this again. Okay, so you only want to do little areas, because if you do big areas, like if I would go ahead and I would run this whole thing, the whole panel would warp, and it's gonna look, you're gonna get seasick when you look down the side of the truck. So especially because of just how thin metal is, you want to do parts at a time. So now I tack that in, right? Let it cool. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm going to go over here to this corner, and I'm going to tack this. Okay, so now that's against there, okay? Now my next one I'm going to be over here. I'm going to go to the complete opposite side here. And I'm going to tack this against. In a minute. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start tacking all the way around here, and then we're going to come back, we're going to check the fitment on that, and then maybe we might spray a little bit of primer on. Alright guys, Big E, I'm back. So we got the panel welded up here, spot welded I should say. I didn't run a bead, just did spots. I tried to do, you know, maybe every inch or 3/4 of an inch down here. And it looks like it's pretty on there pretty good. Had some good runs there. So the next thing we're doing is we're letting the welder cool off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over it with a light sand. And I'm going to go ahead and put I might put a light coat of primer on here yet. And then until we can get around to getting some, going to a auto body warehouse and get some paint mixed up that matches. But as you can see, it's on there pretty good. That weld's held up pretty good. So I'm going to be back. When I come back, we're going to lay some primer on here. Alright guys, I'm back. We're going to go ahead and lay some primer on here. I know it needs body work, but I'm running out of time and I don't know when I'm going to get back to it. So to make sure this thing doesn't rust, because you've got bare metal exposed now, I'm going to put the primer on, and then when I get the paint mixed up, we're going to do a video of where we actually do the body work, and we're going to go ahead and finish it up. But for today, we're just going to put this primer on. It's kind of like a protective barrier. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and lay on this this primer. And please don't mind my camera. I'm trying to adjust with one hand here. So, all right. So here we go with our. This is our primer gun. Alright guys, that's it. If you get runs, a little bit of runs in your primer coat, it's okay because you're going to sand it anyway. We're going to be doing some body work. So now we're just going to let this sit up and unmask it, and then we're going to get the custom. We're going to get the paint mixed. We're going to do some body work. But for now, the panel's on there. It's not going anywhere. So hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. And take care of each other. Like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing some more stuff. I got to do the one on the other side as well. So watch out for each other, take care of each other. We'll see you here next time on Big E's. Thank you for watching.